Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of Ausdauer Financial, where we cover a wide variety of financial topics, including but not limited to financial news in the industry, accounting, debt management, and a variety of other things. This week, as we continue to focus on the reopening of our economy and everyone getting back to work, being able to get back to their normal lives in a manner of speaking, want to cover where we are with the economy opening up. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen a lot of states be continuing to ease their restrictions, going from red to yellow, and now a lot of, if not everyone, if not all, have gone into at least yellow. Now a lot of places are looking at going into green. A lot of your rural areas, a lot of your wide open states have already gone green. Some of the more condensed areas, LA, New York, Philadelphia, a lot of your big cities are in yellow now and are able to operate on a limited basis. Now they're transitioning into going green so that we can, once the medical stuff is addressed, the cases fall off, with a certain degree of precaution and safety in mind, people are slowly looking into how we can get into the green and resume normal lifestyles, in a manner of speaking. And with that regard, even though since we're still in yellow, unemployment is still well over 20 million plus. A lot of that has to do with the fact that small businesses have been severely impacted by the coronavirus. Large corporations have been able to largely operate at a reduced capacity. Your Home Depots, your Amazons, your Walmarts, your chain grocery stores, your big fat moneymakers, Fortune 500 companies have all largely been able to work on a limited basis or reduced operations, so they've been staying in business. And while there have been a lot of furloughed employees, they're still operating, and most of your staff are still working, and therefore had not been financially significantly impacted by this pandemic. However, small businesses don't have those cash reserves and had to go through drastic measures. Some continued operating on a limited basis. For example, construction firms might not go into operating facilities to do construction, but others might. Some construction firms may only be taking on projects where the building is vacated. Others may be going into buildings where there are people, but have been maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, washing their hands, doing all that normal stuff. For those of which, like for example, fast food restaurants who have been significantly impacted by this, who couldn't make the ends meet on just curbside pickup, they had the Paycheck Protection Program to allow their employees to continue to remain on payroll, allow them to continue receiving paychecks. And that as long as they remained on the payroll, the small business did not have to pay that money back. That came out of the taxpayer dollars via the CARES Act. And you also had the Small Business Administration providing loans to small businesses. These loans still had to get paid back. They're not like the Paycheck Protection Program, but the terms are more like a mortgage. Let's say you took out $100 million. You could first of all have a full year of deferment potentially, and then only have to pay, like say, $500 a month over the next 10 years, like a mortgage on a house. Very favorable to a company to allow them to get some cash flow, get back into operations, get their logged expenses covered, and get back into operations with the state allowing them to resume work. This helps out small businesses in a large way, so that they have the cash flow to get started. Just like seed money or a brand new company, you need money to be able to hire the staff, to get support back in, get your marketing going on, and when you've been shut down for a couple of months, you got all those expenses that have just been piling up. Those vendors may have been generous in allowing you to just accrue, but now you have to pay the piper. So, having said that, with the states going yellow, that allows them to get back to work at a certain capacity. When they get green, they should be able to resume. Those that were able to survive the lockdowns and the shutdowns should be able to resume back to normal full operations and slowly begin the recovery process from a financial perspective. Okay? during this whole pandemic, you've seen, even though large corporations, small and large alike, have had to operate at a reduced capacity and take extra expensive or cost-inducive precautions to protect employees and the customer, that has affected supply lines in a significant way. You may have noticed this in grocery stores when you couldn't find water, milk, eggs, or other basic essentials. You may have been seeing over the past couple of weeks that supply chains have been finally catching up, and stores and inventories are finally starting to have all the normal supplies. And there's always going to be some degree of shortages in some areas, but a lot of those essentials are now back on the shelves. And in other areas, for example, those companies that ship to your home, for example, if you order from Lowe's online, Home Depot online, Walmart online, Amazon online, all these other places that do online sales, you will while their customer service call centers may or may not still be shut down, like the federal government may or may not still be shut down, their supply chains are starting to get back into sync, so they're able to start making more timely deliveries, start getting stuff to stores, to the consumer, getting back into the swing of things. It's a beautiful sign for economic recovery. It's a beautiful sign for the consumer who wants to be able to go out and buy the things that they want or need. It's great for the small businesses who have product they need to push in order to generate the revenue to continue to make a living. And during all of this, it has really opened up the corporate America's eyes as to what is considered absolutely essential to have on site, in the sense that a lot of companies, especially your Fortune 500s and your large organizations, have had many of their staff anywhere possible working from home. A home-life balance that has been in some ways very beneficial to the families, because then when their kids are home from school, they don't have to worry about who's going to look after the kids. They can be there with them while they're getting their work done. For those who don't have the kid situation, they still get to enjoy the quality of life of being able to operate out of their home in the comfort of their other home setting. And the employers are discovering that this is actually working in a lot of ways. They're still getting the same production they were getting out of employees working in the office, but without the having to deal with the extra precautions of bringing them into the office, risking potential spread of the infection and all those things. Having said that, as they resume normal operations, a lot of these employees are going to have to return on site because it was difficult. They made special exceptions in certain ways in order to enable them to work from home, but they operate better when the persons are on site. Not in all cases. There are some cases where their work is very much something where you don't require them on site. For example, if you're doing, let's say, project management, financial work, analytical work, there's a number of positions out there that you're more or less sitting at a desk most of the day anyway, taking meetings, doing reports, things of that nature. Those positions, I see a lot of companies are not as in a hurry to return to the office because they're still getting the same level of productivity, and it didn't really impact operations having them work from home. So, in abundance of caution, considering they're able to get full normal workflow out of them, and we haven't gone green across the board, why take their any unnecessary risks? And they've been able to stay working from home. This definitely helps during a summer when all these kids are home from school, and offers employees a lot of flexibility. So as companies are transitioning back to the work on site model that was traditional before the pandemic, I imagine a lot of companies are evaluating what's going to make the most sense and how do we use this eye-opening experience to help with our operating model going forward, disaster recovery plans, contingency plans, and things of that nature. So, having said that, this whole pandemic, as tragic as it has been to the economy both in America and across the globe, it has been eye-opening for both government, the public, and private enterprise as to how to survive, how to continue going forward, and how to make adjustments in their operating plans going in for the future. So, Having said that, regarding the unemployment here, just to touch on this before we leave, but saved this till the end on purpose, even though it was listed on here, because it's important to note this. The unemployment is as high as it is in a large degree, not because there aren't jobs available per se. In some cases, with the furloughed and everything, companies are still bringing company back, so yeah, there's issues there, granted. But here's the thing, with the CARES Act, that provided an extra $600 per week of what you would normally be eligible for on unemployment. With that extra bump, now please, all of you out there, let me know if you are on unemployment, are you seeing those benefits, or was that all just talk? Let me know. I would love to hear about it, but from everything I can tell in the news with the various states and the federal government, that was above your normal eligibility, an additional $600 a week. That's 2,400 hours a month. Is in some of your lower income families, that's more than you were making full time, and that lasts until July 25th. So you have another few weeks. We're looking at going on the middle of June, so at least another 6 weeks of extra $600. Bear in mind, when that ends in July, and you don't have any new stimulus packages coming through Congress, that HEROES Act is still sitting in the Senate, and I really doubt they're going to go anywhere with it. I do not see a second stimulus check coming out. I do not see this HEROES Act getting signed, especially as the pandemic, the cases start dropping off, people start resuming normal lifestyles. The government's going to be like, well, everyone's back to work. No one needs this. We're not going to burn $3 trillion on packages that the economy is recovering on its own. So why put our country in that kind of debt? Therefore, I do not see, as the HEROES Act would have proposed, keeping unemployment benefits as an extra $600 through the end of the year. I really don't see that going anywhere. This is a key number for those who are on unemployment to keep an eye on, because then your unemployment benefits drop back down to the normal levels. Then you may see a financial pinch in your income, and then you may need to start looking at getting back into the workforce, which will inevitably force the unemployment numbers to drop off that 20 million plus mark and come back down to normal levels. I think we were at 4 or 5% unemployment prior to the pandemic. I can't say historically low, but definitely in the range of historically low unemployment, which shows a thriving economy and lots of opportunity for financial investment, financial prosperity, and things of that nature. So, with all that having been said, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about what I think. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of these topics or anything else, please feel free to let me know. I would love to include your concerns in a future video and discuss all those things with you. In the meantime, if you just happen to be coming across this video while surfing through YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. And until next time, thank you for watching.